So what I'm thinking about is in 2020, 3 years ago when I went for my first loan that I needed during the pandemic, you got something called the technical assistant, right? When you fill out loans and when you do a lot of, again, which I had no familiarity about, but it's a lot of paperwork that goes into play. There's, all of your bank statements, you got to do your business plan. They want to make sure that if you are granted the loan and the underwriters do grant you this loan, that you can handle your business. And I had to go over my business plan like 20, 30, 40, 50 times, but this is the exact library that I had to meet what's called the technical assistant at to assist me with my loan. And it happened right here. And it's funny, man, because you have doubts, which just come from is this all gonna work out? Just like when I was locked away when I was in prison. You think about, am I really coming home? Am I really gonna be able to shoot for and strive for all these dreams, these plans I have about changing my life? And you get the opportunity, you get another opportunity, but it trains you to know that, man, you just gotta keep pushing. Every step, you just gotta keep pushing. As soon as it looks like it's gonna get dark, that's when the light comes. I'm just looking now like, when I first came home, I worked side by side with these guys at another company. And now I was able to push forward and see a vision to provide for them and, give them, substantial compensation. All right, come in. The left door should be open on the second floor. His story is also unique. Also, when he first came home, he was homeless, just like those people outside. Two similar stories, man. We had to fight, we had to write, ask the judicial system to let us go. So initially, man, it wasn't set out this way. That's my boy I always tell you about.
Yeah, I gotta go, yo.
I can tell you whatever.
See that? Give us a call. You want some electrical work done? Call Light and Electric. You got a tape measure?
Tony got a tape measure. You probably got one down here.
I just left from the studio, looking at the paintings, we stretching them down. They big. I want to get a sense of, because I did the measurements, so they on average, they 90, they'll be 95.
So we covering it with these lights, right? Was the lights?
So those coming out. Oh, these were lights in.
Those lights that was in, and these are on there. We're reusing these.
Oh, just cover it up. Yeah, that's smart.
We're using them and cover them up like we did that one, you wouldn't even see it. So that's what we're doing tonight, because the lights we finished installing the lights last night. We got out here 1 o'clock. These tilt, so when your guys, when they come up and they when they install it, they can turn the light, do what they need to do with it.
Okay.
And as you can see, look at that light and look at the old one.
Right. Yeah. So you said they tilt, right?
Absolutely. You can do what you want. Yeah, they tilt.
And I like them.
See how they fit in?
They fit in. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah. Because you see the ambiance, I didn't want to change it. Because my installer want to know what the wall's made out of. I told him I'll try to find out. Right. What's underneath there?
It's like a styrofoam, so it's hollow.
Yeah, so what is this? What is this?
It's like something, I don't know.
These paintings heavy, so we got to use longer screws.
Anchors.
Anchors, yeah, anchors, yeah, of course. But I wonder if it's Homosoap panel, you think? All right, I'm gonna send us the bill.
Try to clear the path that you have. Yeah, last two, and then that's it. My name is Sekwan Merritt, owner of Light and Electric. here at the Enoch Pratt Library on a special project with a good homie of mine. It's funny how this story came together, how we came to this moment. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna let my friend, but my mentor, a lot of people don't know. I'm gonna let him finish.
All right, so I met Sekwan when I was working with University of Baltimore Second Chance College Program, and he was telling me about how he had history in working in electrical space and wanted to start his own electrical company when he came home. He was asking me questions about real estate. I really liked his energy. A lot of the guys in there had plans and were really motivated about a new chapter in their lives. And so I started to stay in touch with the classmates in the college. And I remember when Sekwan came home, he followed up and was asking questions about how to start his company. And I advised him to kind of take it slow, go work for an electrical company and learn the industry. And not too long after that, he started his own company. And I started to hire him for work. He's been paying it forward by hiring formerly incarcerated people. And this company has really taken off. And, when I was doing this project, there was no other company that I was willing to work with. And so I'm excited to get this project up.
Right. Do we want to go in detail about the project a little bit?
Yeah.
What we got going on?
Yeah. So I'm making these paintings about radical joy and freedom. And when I was tasked to do these paintings, the library asked me to create a body of work that describes Baltimore. And I thought about our street dancers. We have the best dancers in the world. And so I said, I knew I want to do some dancers. When the weather's nice and it's Sunday, we take the bikes out. So I knew I wanted to put some bikes up. And I feel like when people see these paintings, it'll be a representation of Baltimore.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me about how important is relationships to you? In business, especially, but just life in general. How is important is it to you?
So no matter how much drive that you have, and I had that a lot when I came home, right? I had a lot of drive, right? Me and you talk,
Right.
and things like that, and I was just really hitting the ground running with the company. But I was so wrapped up in pushing the company, I wasn't really paying attention to the relationships. Everything, for the most part, was business. I wasn't really, right, transactional, right? You pay me this, I do this. And there was no relationship involved because, I was so focused. And one of the things now that the company is kind of on a better start, I have the opportunity now to have time to get out, and me and you, talked about that, right? Making certain connections where I'm able to mingle and mix and even do things like this where we're able to really just kick it.
Right.
So, relationships are imperative because this is what catapulted Light and Electric now. Now I'm afforded, the means and the ways to do things like this, meet with different people. I mean, over the last, I would say 5 months, right? I've met with the, CEO of White and Turner, heads of major companies, and I've been able to reach out to them in order to get certain information on things I need, right? Because again, now we're at the point, right? We're at the, 4 to 5 year point, whereas though, you either gonna sink or swim.
Right.
And, you get a point where you got to scale, right? You have to scale since, scale or fail. Or, and when you go into that, you're gonna enter certain phases that you just are not aware of. Like we wasn't aware of in the beginning, right? This is an ever learning journey.
Right.
We got to keep going. But it gets into more pressure, more currency you're going to be dealing with, more opportunities, a lot, larger contracts. And you got to know how to navigate through those things. You got to be able to reach out, and you only can reach out to those once you build those relationships.
Right.
So yeah.
So we are in a library. I grew up reading. I typically read a book a week. I've been doing it for the past 20 years. I had this thing that I've learned from one of my mentors, Stephen, when he says to me all the time, he still says it, that knowledge that you put in your mind, no one can take that away from you. How important is reading and acquiring knowledge to you? And what are your practices? Like, do you go to the library? Do you order books?
So knowledge and education is imperative. It's what changes the trajectory of my life.
Right.
In prison, I created a curriculum for myself. We had higher education programs like the University of Baltimore Second Chance program, Goucher College. That's what really expanded and opened my mind up, right? Because you got to think. Let's just take it back to that prison, to that compound, to that controlled environment, whereas though you only have a selected few places you can go, and some people are there for years. I used to have this thought process of the correctional officers, right? Like they actually don't. We were so close to them. They leave.
Right.
They leave. They go home. They go out in the world, and then they come back, and they just with us temporarily. It's like they had to me. It's like a power. Like they can leave and come back. We can't. So within that, when the higher education programs came there, I just kept feeding myself. Books became my friends. I used to love to have books, right? One of the things in prison that you can get, which a lot of people don't take advantage of, is that you can get endless books.
Right.
So I would tell my people to send me everything that I can on business, everything that I can on, legislation, politics. And I had the opportunity to acquire the knowledge and figure out why I was locked up that long, right? Why did I have a non-parolable sentence of 25 years without parole? Because legislation was passed. But had I not read these things, I wouldn't be able to understand it.
Right.
And it gave me a power to just believe that I can change, I can solve a lot of problems, and my life doesn't have to be.
What was the moment
currently
when you decided to change? When it was like you want to do something different. This isn't working. I'm in prison, and I mean, you seem super focused. But was it always that way? What was that moment? What was that rock bottom moment, or that switch when you just went in a different direction?
The switch was when the gavel was handed down, and I was sentenced to 25 years without parole for 2 grams of heroin.
Yeah.
Right. When I was sentenced to 22.3 grams, and I heard my family just screaming, hollering, crying, it just got real hollow. And they took me downstairs. Never sat me in a cell by myself with these garments on. They took my belt and everything, because the type of time that I was sentenced to, people potentially go crazy or kill themselves.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, wow, this is real, because I wasn't under the impression that I would get that much time, because I was led by my lawyers. There's no way. And he led me under the assumption that, you're not a murderer, you're not a killer, you have a record, but it's just nonviolent drug crimes. Like, you're not going to get that much time. Again, I didn't know the laws in our state of Maryland. It deemed it appropriate for a person that was a repeat offender of nonviolent drug crimes, no matter if you got locked up with a gram, no matter if you got locked up with a kilogram. If you get caught 3 times, 25 years without parole, that's the judge. She didn't even have any power to give me anything less.
Let me ask you this. There are so many people in the city who are getting arrested and getting a lot of time in prison. What is one thing that you would say to them? People may see this and say, I can't start an electrical company and do this, or what would you say to some young person who has a big sentence over their head and they're thinking, well, what can I do? Or how did I do it? Like, how can I be like Sekwan? Like, what would you say?
Keep your mindset fresh. keep whatever your input is, what you're reading, what you're looking at, what you're listening to.
Right.
Keep it hopeful.
Yeah.
Right. Keep it hopeful. Because that's what it is. Sometimes we be in the state of, I can't do what
Right.
Sekwan did. I can't do what Chris did. That's a state of hopelessness.
Right.
Right. And that comes from just their surroundings. Get out. Like, I know what you see. You see what we seen in the day room.
Right.
Smoking K2, working out, on the phone, like, running, call themselves, being the chief of the jail, right? These different things that in the real grander scheme of things in the world don't mean anything.
Right.
And your surroundings influence your mindset. You gotta take yourself out of that. Set your sights on what you want to be and start setting up plans like the master plan. Start setting up plans and putting things in place to get there. Right? Where we're sitting at right here, they have one of these in most prisons.
Yeah.
They have books. Start creating a library. Start reading things that'll take you out of, your current state, at least for your mind. You know what I mean? Just try to take yourself away from there mentally, and you'll be able to do that through, again, books, reading things that's going to continue to encourage you on what you want to be, that goal you set. Right. And that was the pretty much the main thing that kept me focused. What does it mean for you to be here? Like, what does this mean? Like, how are you connected to this library? How's this library connected to your story?
So when I was released from prison, I was in a halfway house that's a few blocks from here, and the only place we were allowed to go was to this library. And I wanted to go back to school, go to college. I wanted to find a job. So they had 2-hour slots here in this library where I could go online, had to figure out the internet, heard about this thing, Google, and apply for school. And it was a very different library. Like, this library has been redone. It was very different. People were taking baths in the bathroom, bird baths. I mean, it was an interesting place. But since then, I have gotten into college, started a few companies, and I got into art because a local artist who I was doing contracting work for, Jeffrey Kent, gave me a job to move some art. And after I would finish the jobs, I would go to his studio and watch him paint. And I remember Jeffrey telling me about art is all around us. Most people just don't see it. He said it should mean something. And he started to say to me, like, think about stuff that you care about. And for me, it was criminal justice reform, and, I like vibrant colors. And so Jeffrey challenged me to create a body of work. And so I started making art, and I started traveling the world, and I fell in love with it. And I think that having my art on the wall in this library is confirmation that all of those hours that I put in working on these computers and trying to figure out my life, trying to get into college, trying to find a job, and all those things paid off, but it started here. And so I'm honored to be able to come back into this library and see my art on the wall. And so I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want young people, especially here in Baltimore, to know the story behind these paintings, the provenance of someone who, I was homeless, I had $50, and I just had this plan of, I gotta figure my life out, and I would come here, and I've since figured my life out, and I'm on the wall forever. It was great.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. So, we talked before we met at the library in the University of Baltimore, right? I mean, at the library.
I remember on the phone.
We met on the phone.
Yeah.
Right? Brother put me on the phone.
Right.
With you, right? Said, oh man, I know that dude that you looking at. The reason why he said he knew that dude is because I had a copy of the Daily Record.
Yeah.
The Daily Record is a paper that they put out here in Maryland, in Baltimore. In the back of it, it shows different cases, different presidents, different cases that has just been ruled on, Maryland Supreme Court and stuff like that. So we look at this. But on the front of this daily record, this one that I seen you.
Yeah.
I seen you. And as I know people was like snickering about me being in the day room with my headphones with some blueprints that I got out of a Thomas Reuter's electrician book out of the back. And I had my color pencils and I'm tracing out circuits and stuff like that. I knew there was, some people that were, that would say like, "Damn, yo, you stay on your joint." You know what I mean? You stay on your mission. Yeah. But they was really laughing in the background like, "He ain't gonna use that. He probably go home and ain't do none of that stuff." When I seen your picture in the Daily Record, it confirmed, and I read your story, that it can happen. Yeah. I don't remember having an example of somebody that I can identify with that I knew that I've heard about you that was in the Maryland prison that had just left. I believe you was home about 4 or 5 years then. Yeah. That had just left, and I'm like, he's home, actually doing contracting, building in Baltimore, right. And that's what gave me that confirmation, right, that I can do it, right? Because I can identify with you, and I think that's a lot what we missing. People don't see a lot of me and you. They don't know that, we was just in Jessup just like them. Right. We was just washing our T-shirt out in the sink, right? The dirty, tea bag T-shirt, going out, running in the yard, throwing our joint in the net bag, 3, 4, 5 net bags, right? We don't know that. So, seeing that, man, and then sitting here is like, is surreal, man. It's crazy, man.
I love it. So thank you so much for taking on this project for me. Your work is always spectacular, and
appreciate you.
It's an honor, man, to work with you on different projects. You've been helping me. This isn't your first project you're helping me with, so this is dope, man. We're gonna keep doing this and rocking out, man.
Definitely.
I appreciate it, man.
Brother, man.
I love it.